right? So
I
like
think
your
so.
your bed is probably like
Not as heavy. Yeah,
less than 50%.
right.
Maybe 25% of the weight.
People have asked that as well. Like when we were leveling these things out, I used I don't know if you saw my post. We used washers, like metal stainless steel washers,
Okay, yeah.
because we needed to level these, and we're like, well, what are we gonna use? These beds are gonna be so heavy. I would love to know the weight of those beds. I mean, I'm never gonna be able to know, but
I calculated.
Actually, you can.
Yeah.
I did a study on it early on for a rooftop garden. I wanted to go that way, and it was 86 pounds per square foot when it was at a
Per square foot or cubic?
cubic foot. Thank you. At full saturation. So in other words,
I was gonna say I think I calculated like 60 some pounds, so maybe 80 pounds would make sense. We're in the same
because what I did was I added water to it to hit what we call field capacity or maximum soil saturation, and I just kept putting the water in until it began to drip out, and that was 86.7 pounds per cubic foot. So it's the beds that you're dealing with are in the tons.
And when you calculated 80 something, it was that just the A or like the proportionally speaking, the E, the A, and the O?
It was proportionally the entire mix. Although what we did find out was that because the layers are of different sizes, the 1, 2, 4, that the measurements got skewed to some degree because there was more O horizon than A horizon and then E, because the E held the most water. The A held the second most water, but the O held almost no water. So it got a little bit wonky in the calculations, but
we're in the same ballpark though, 80 pounds.
Yeah. It was a safe calculation for the engineers figuring the roof load and the live load. It wasn't too little, it wasn't too great. It was a really good stab at field capacity, moisture holding in that soil. So in a rain event, if the soil drained properly, it would not exceed that 86.7.
Hey, I had were you gonna say something, Travis? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying for us, I mean, our square footage of canopy in our greenhouses, we figured to be 1,250 square feet. So because we have 2 greenhouses built right now, so if we build 2 more greenhouses, we could have 1,250 square feet total in all 4 of those greenhouses. We could have 5,000 square feet total
of canopy.
Of flowering canopy. They don't even count your veg.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
That makes sense. They count ours though, but
yeah, they don't count ours for that. But I mean, we're just limited in space in those others in propagation. So as of now, but what we did was we made our beds 55 inches wide. So if you think about it, like we're 55 inches wide by 64 feet long. You add those, you add that up by 4, you almost got another bed in there. It just doesn't look like it. And we needed enough room to get a small scissor lift down the rows to work on something if it, anything went light or whatever, the light lifters, whatever. You got to get up to the ceiling, blackouts, whatever. We needed to have some sort of scissor lift to go down those rows. So everything was calculated. Recalculated. So I don't know. It's before you do your full build out of your greenhouses. That's something to really take into consideration.
Yeah. That's why I made my newer room slide on those tracks, so I wasn't restricted to a rolling table, so I can get that room if I want to put equipment. If I need to,
that makes sense totally.